Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the franchise discussion category. This video will be dedicated to the recap and thoughts for issue 10 of the Young Justice tie-in comics, Hot Case. We begin this issue at Annapolis on August 14th, where the Young Justice team are battling Rako in the home of General Tran. Despite the Young Heroes' best efforts, Rako manages to throw a tapestry over the Young Heroes' heads, which distracts them long enough for Rako to finish off Tran and escape. The next scene takes us to Metropolis, where the Young Justice team have gathered in Bibbo's diner. They're having a telepathic conversation with each other, and they've uploaded the picture from Shirley Mason's home onto their phones. They recognize almost all the individuals in the picture. The only individuals they don't recognize are a CIA agent named Alec Royce and a young boy who they suspect is Rako when he was a kid. They also note that Nathaniel Adams, Wade Elin, Randy, and Peggy are the key individuals in this case who are not present in the picture. They suspect that Alec Royce and Rako are working together to eliminate the other individuals in the picture, so they suspect that Henry Yarrow and Enos Polk are the next victims. Most of the team members inquire Aqualad about what they should do next, but Aqualad is distracted thinking about Atlantis. He quickly gets his head back into the current topic at hand, and he comes up with a plan. Aqualad, Miss Martian, and Artemis will stay in Metropolis, where Enos Polk lives, while Robin, Kid Flash, and Superboy will go to Las Vegas, where Henry Yarrow lives. In Las Vegas, Robin, Kid Flash, and Superboy find Henry Yarrow's home, and they notice that his home is much more humble compared to the homes of Shirley Mason and General Tran, which leads them to suspect that Henry Yarrow probably wasn't in on the weapons smuggling ring. Suddenly, the house explodes, and despite the Young Heroes' best efforts, it appears as though Henry Yarrow had perished in the explosion. Kid Flash recognizes a tattoo, both in appearance and location, on the victim, which leads him to suspect that the victim is indeed Henry Yarrow. They also figure that because it was an explosion, that the house exploded, they don't believe that Rako was behind this particular explosion. They believe that Alec Royce was behind this, since they did some research, and Alec Royce was apparently a specialist when it came to demolitions. So they try to figure out their next course of action. So the next scene takes us to St. George at an abandoned Air Force hangar, and all of the Unjustice team members have gathered at this hangar, and they soon see that Rako and Alec Royce are there, but there's a third individual there as well. It turns out Henry Yarrow didn't perish in the explosion at his house after all, and Henry Yarrow notes that the Young Heroes are not surprised to see that he's still alive, so he figures that they must have already figured out that this is a trap, or that they've walked into a trap, and they confirm as much. And it turns out Henry Yarrow was in on the weapons smuggling ring after all. And Henry Yarrow, though, says that even though the Young Heroes are greater in number compared to him and his allies, Yarrow points out that they have advantages of their own. Alec Royce has a vest of explosives on his person, and he also is holding a dead man's trigger. So if he releases the trigger one way or another, the explosives will go off. We also find out that Rako's sword is made out of a material known as X-ionizer, which apparently is capable of harming Superman, which explains why Superboy was injured by the sword. But while Yarrow is describing what his allies have against the young heroes, he loses track of where Robin is, and Robin ends up sneak attacking Yarrow, and this allows the young heroes to set their counterattack into motion. Miss Martian uses her telekinesis to prevent Alec Royce from letting go of the dead man trigger, and Artemis shoots a foam arrow at Alec Royce's arm that has, the arm where the hand has the dead man's trigger, so Alec Royce can't Alec Royce can't let go of the dead man's trigger now because of the foam arrow around it. And Kid Flash knocks out Alec Royce for good measure. Aqualad uses his water manipulation ability in order to get Rako to lose consciousness. And Henry Yarrow attempts to shoot bullets at Robin, but Superboy is able to deflect the bullets. But one of the stray bullets ends up ricocheting back at Henry Yarrow. And Henry Yarrow is about to pass out from the wound. It's a very lethal wound. But Miss Martian intends to read Henry Yarrow's mind to learn the truth before he fully passes out. So the next scene takes us to Mount Justice, where the Young Justice team are telling Captain Atom about their findings from this mission. So Nathaniel Adams truly was innocent, and it is true that Nathaniel Adams did suspect that there was a weapons smuggling ring going on. What he didn't know, though, was that Clement Lamar was a part of the weapons smuggling ring. But he also didn't know that Henry Yarrow was also part of the weapons smuggling ring. And even though Lamar was a general and Yarrow was a lieutenant, Yarrow was Lamar's boss in regards to the weapons smuggling ring. And Lamar did not like the fact that he had to take orders from a lieutenant. So Lamar saw Adams discovering, or Adams' suspicion about a weapons smuggling ring. He saw that as an opportunity to not just get rid of Nathaniel Adams, but also to get rid of Henry Yarrow. So Lamar had tipped off Tran, who was the North Vietnamese contact for the weapons smuggling ring, about Adams and Yarrow's squad, so that Tran's group could ambush the squad. And Lamar's hope was that Nathaniel Adams and Henry Yarrow would perish from the ambush, but that didn't go as planned for him because Nathaniel Adams and Henry Yarrow did end up surviving the ambush. And Yarrow had two problems for him to solve, or Yarrow needed to figure out how he was going to deal with Nathaniel Adams, who could not be corrupted or convinced to join the weapons smuggling ring, and how to get rid of Lamar as well. So what Yarrow figured out was pitting the two against each other. Yarrow had encouraged Nathaniel Adams to confront Lamar about the ambush, but what Nathaniel Adams didn't know was that Henry Yarrow had spiked Nathaniel Adams' drink, which explains why Nathaniel Adams had blacked out. Enos Polk had used Nathaniel Adams' knife to eliminate Clement Lamar, both to get rid of Clement Lamar and to also frame Nathaniel Adams for Lamar's death. And it turns out, yes, most of the individuals, the Young Justice team says that most of the individuals that took part in Nathaniel Adams' trial were part of the weapons smuggling ring in some capacity, which means the trial was essentially a joke. And Captain Atom questions them about Wade Eland's part in this, but the young heroes admit that they couldn't find anything about Wade Eland. He wasn't present in the picture that they found, and Miss Martian didn't find anything when she read Henry Yarrow's mind, because she admitted that the psychic link had happened only mere seconds before Henry Yarrow died, and she admits that she's still new at reading the minds of non-telepaths. So they couldn't find any evidence of Wade Eland being in on this. As far as they know, Wade Eland seemed to be the only one who genuinely believed Nathaniel Adams to be guilty. Nonetheless, though, Captain Atom is quite pleased by the intel that the young heroes have gathered, and he congratulates and thanks them for a job well done. He also requests that they tell Randy and Peggy the truth about their biological father. So the next scene takes us to Honolulu, where we see Aqualad and Artemis are telling Randy and Peggy that Nathaniel Adams was innocent and framed for the crime that he allegedly committed. And nearby, there's a car parked, and in the car, we see Captain Atom and Wade Eland talking to each other. Wade Eland apologizes to Captain Atom, who is revealed to be Nathaniel Adams, and he admits that he really wanted to believe that Adams was guilty of the crime. Captain Atom, in return, apologizes because he thought that Wade Eland was guilty of the frame-up, and he really wanted to believe that. So the two decide that they guess that they're even now. And Captain Atom takes on his normal appearance as Nathaniel Adams, and Wade Eland offers to let Nathaniel Adams reunite with his kids. The next scene takes us to Washington, D.C., and it's now August 15th, where we're in Wade Eland's office, and he's met up with Alec Royce, who managed to escape custody. He also confirms that he managed to help Rako escape custody as well. The issue ends with the revelation that Wade Eland was actually Henry Yarrow's boss in the weapons smuggling ring after all. The reason why Wade Eland wasn't present in the picture was because he was the one who took the picture. So there you go. We've now completed, we've now discussed part 2 of the 2-part story that was based off of Captain Atom, Top Secret. And although it seemed pretty safe to say that many probably already figured it out beforehand, this issue confirms that Captain Atom and Nathaniel Adams are one and the same. Admittedly, the names sound very familiar, or his civilian last name matches up with his hero code name. Like, they sound very similar to each other, and they actually do sound similar if someone talks with a glottal stop. For those unfamiliar, a glottal stop is those instances where a T sound comes out like a D sound. And I've talked with a glottal stop before, so you might know what I'm talking about there. But on to other details regarding the issue. We do find out that, there was definitely a big conspiracy going on with this weapons smuggling ring, and Wade Eland ended up being part of it after all. Although the issue ends with Wade Eland pretty much revealing he got away with both what he did during the incident back in 1968, but he also got away with the events that happened over the course of this 2-part story. And now, as Wade Eland describes it, he and Captain Atom are now best friends, so yeah. Now, maybe they did have plans to follow up on this story. I'm not sure, because the TV series proper never really followed up on this story in any way, whether it was season 1 or season 2. So maybe they'll follow up on this story in season 3 in some way, or maybe there were plans for the tie-in comics before they ended. But like we said, I mean, maybe if the tie-in comics can restart, maybe if we can get more stories from the tie-in comics, maybe there's a chance that we can see a continuation to this particular 2-part story. Otherwise, similar to the previous issue, part 1, this issue also continued with Aqualad being distracted thinking about Atlantis. When they were in Bibbo's diner in Metropolis, he was momentarily distracted thinking about Atlantis before his teammates' questions about what they should do next made him realize, oh, that's right, I gotta think about the topic at hand. So once again, that's a good thing that they actually showed us that Aqualad being distracted thinking about Atlantis was something that was happening over the course of time. It wasn't something that just happened in the episode downtime. So I did appreciate that they touched up on those details and connected those details between different stories within the Earth 16 universe, whether they were episodes from the TV series or issues from the tie-in comics. And what else? Actually, I think that might be about it for now, actually. So overall, like I said with part 1, I did think it was pretty cool that Greg Weisman was able to revisit a story that he helped contribute to when he worked on in the past, because like I mentioned, Captain Atom Top Secret was a story from the main DC comics that Greg Weisman co-wrote, and Wade Elin is a character that Greg Weisman co-created for the main DC comics. So that was pretty cool how he got to revisit those stories later on in his lifetime. And yeah, and I did like how this 2-part tie-in comic story was able to flesh out Wade Elin's character a little more, because his appearances in the TV series didn't really have the chance to go didn't get to go into too great of details about his character. So it's good they were able to touch up on his character in this 2-parter. So there we go. We have ourselves another 2-part story from the tie-in comics that we've discussed on the channel. And the next issue actually starts not a 2-part story, but a 3-part story. And we'll go into greater detail about this 3-parter in each video dedicated to each issue dedicated to the 3-parter. But for now, there we go. As of this video, we've now discussed issue 10 of the Young Justice tie-in comics on this channel. Take care, and until next time.